Living Seed Media brings to you God's Word, which is His comprehensive equipment for changing lives. May the Lord impact your heart as you encounter His Word. For further inquiry or counsel, contact Peace House, P.O. Box 971, Boko, Benue State, Nigeria. Telephone numbers 0703 0363659, 0703 7681198. Email address lsmedia@livingseed.org, or visit our website at www.livingseed.org. Let us sit back and listen as the servant of God brings forth the word of life.
Amen. Shake somebody and say, God is good. God is great. Hallelujah. You can be seated. This morning, I've been begging God to help me to package what is coming strong to my heart. And I'm trusting God that God will impress upon you in a very deep and permanent way God's program, God's provisions for preparing you for His great vision about your life. If I want to tie it to what we have been talking about, I will say the ropes that God uses to tie a man down for glory. How God ties a man down, what He uses to tie him down, and what happens during the period he's tied down. You know, yesterday, when we were talking about that donkey that is tied down, I gave an impression that that donkey is just tied down there to be looking. Tied down there to be seeing people enjoying their lives, catching fun, going wherever they are going, but he is just tied down, doing nothing. That is not the correct picture. While you are tied down in that place, several things happen to the donkey that will be leading to glory tomorrow. Are you listening to me? You don't prepare for tomorrow when tomorrow has come. When do you prepare for tomorrow? Today. You spend today to prepare for tomorrow. If you arrive in your tomorrow unprepared, you are too late to prepare. One to the man that spends the day of his glory to begin his preparations. He will live a life void of glory, void of excitement of arriving at the point that God intends for his life. So this morning I've been begging God to help me quickly so that it can be together. I don't intend to do all the elaborate exposition, but I'm praying that as you are going away from here, there will be something dawned in your heart, and as you are going, you'll be saying, yes, even though God is tying me down, He's not tying me down for nothing. I'm not being tied down to be redundant, to become lazy, to become bored. Actually, boredom is only a reality when a man has nothing that is engaging his mind. Are you hearing me? If I am sitting silently somewhere and I am busy planning something great that I am doing tomorrow, will anybody hear any voice from my mouth? Will I be singing? Will I be dancing? What am I likely? When you look at me from afar, what are you likely to see me doing? Sitting quiet. But can I be bored? Why am I not bored? Because I am engaged. Every time you are bored, it doesn't mean that something is wrong. It just means that you are not what? Engaged. Your mind is not engaged. And and there's nobody that doesn't enter what I call dull moments. When I enter a moment that I become dull, I become bored, I look around and say, Lanre, why are you bored? It's because you are not profitably engaged. Then I look for something to engage my heart. Even if the engagement is sleep. What did I say? It's profitable. I engage myself. Engage myself. Now this morning, I want to speak to us very quickly about the two sets of ropes that God uses to tie a man down for glory. One is physical, external, visible. One set. What did I say they are? Physical, external, visible. The other set are internal, invisible, though very tangible. Internal, invisible. Will I say mental? It's not only mental, it's both spiritual and mental, but it's invisible. Two sets of ropes that God uses to tie a man down. How I am going to be able to do it, I don't know. Because you see, the problem is that the two sets of ropes, I think God is giving me a wisdom now. You know the rope they used to tie these animals. If you look at that rope, especially the ones that those cow sellers or something use to tie their cow, you notice that it's about 2-3 strings of ropes, isn't it? Wind together. It is the three strands, or 4 or 5, I don't know how many strands, wound together tightly, that forms a single rope. This physical, external, visible rope uses the internal, invisible ropes to tie you down. So the two of them, the two sets are intertwined. I will just name them first, and then we will, because our time is not much, we are going to look at a life, 1 or 2 lives. I'm going to use the story of one young man, basically. Then we will borrow from some other lives when his own life is not very explicit. It's there, but maybe it's not very visible. I will find another life to quickly use to illustrate it. I want to use the young man Joseph as an illustration of a man that was tied down for his glory. I want to identify the physical hands. Now, those physical ropes, they are human hands. What did I say? They are human hands. And we are going to be dealing with 3 of them, basically. These 3 human hands that God uses to tie a man down until the day of glory, when he's released into God's purpose and released into greatness and released into shining. 3 human hands, and those human hands, I will name them for you. Let's just give ourselves the syllabus quickly so that I will try and run through it. They are your parents. What's the first group of people that I called? Parents, disciples, and masters. The invisible ropes that these three sets of people use to tie you down. I'm using the word tie. My emphasis is not really on tying this morning. My emphasis is on preparing, because that is what goes on when you are tied. Preparation is the major preoccupation of God over a life that is being tied for the future glory. These three invisible ones now. The visible ones. Which one? What's my problem now? Okay, just wait. I will tell you the two. I'm the one talking now. Don't tell me what I should say now. Are you with me? The visible ones, visible, physical ones. I said there are three. What are those three? Parents, disciples, and masters. Now, the invisible ones, their dreams, instructions. The third one is three-dimensional. Gifts, talents, and skills. What did I call them? Gifts, talents, and skills. That's number three. Number one is what? Dreams. Number two is what? Instructions and teachings. Number three, your gifts, your talents, and skills. Now, so let's study Joseph and see how God tied this man down, and how God used this period to prepare him for the glory that came out of the life of Joseph. Again, let me remind you of the end before I start at the beginning. Do you remember what Joseph eventually became? What did he become? Became the prime minister of the world's superpower as at that time. He became, even though he was not a citizen, even though he was not an Egyptian, he took the highest post in the land. The only person that he could not command was Pharaoh. And we have a man that is not just, he was not just prime minister. Here was a man that was used to preserve the whole of the Middle East as at that time. Many nations that would have been wiped out, they survived the 7 years of famine because of Joseph. And you remember, Joseph fed the world. How does God prepare such a man? And how did you don't know what normally happens to me when I look, I say, this is one small life. He starts just like everybody else. As what? As a baby. He poo-poos in nappy. He cries for food. You think when his first thing is to play with sand. If he was living in Africa, there's no sand in UK and US now to play with. He rolls toys up and down. He plays with a bicycle. Small boy. And then in the space of about 30-40 years, he suddenly rises to become the president of the most important nation in the world. How does it happen? And sometimes you may think that great people have some very great, special, strange, uncommon ways in which they grew up. That's why they became very great at the end. Mistake. Great people didn't pass through great preparations They passed through the same ordinary preparations, but they took advantage of those ordinary, normal preparations that you and you, even as a small, you are no longer a small boy now, you are no longer a small girl. You are already a young adult. That you pass through. They pass through exactly the same stages. What is the difference? They maximized their preparation. What did I say they did? They maximized it. They utilized it. They didn't pass through their preparations as if they were in a dream, as if they were sleeping. They did what they were supposed to do at the time they were supposed to do it, and suddenly greatness manifested inside of them. The story is still true of every great man, truly great man that you meet anywhere in the world. They are born just like you. Are you hearing me? They were born by one woman. 200 women did not give birth to them. Hello? They were born on top of one delivery table in one hospital, just like you. Some of them were even born by local customary nurses. They were born exactly the way you were born. They had the same features that you have. They grew up in the same set of circumstances like you. But at the end of the day, they came out great because they maximized, they thoroughly immersed themselves in their preparation. And they gained maximum benefit from that period until it was time for them to become something definite. So let's go to Genesis chapter 37. We'll begin the story of Brother Joseph. Are you in Genesis 37? You will find it's a long story. We are going to be doing hop, step, and jump. I'm going to just be touching the issues to highlight what I want to do this morning. Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger. I'm reading from verse 1. In the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. First thing I want to note with you is that Joseph was not even the firstborn. Did you notice that he was not the firstborn? What was Joseph's number in the family? Number 11. Second to quarter to finish. Now, you may not understand that now today because our society is no longer emphasizing birth the way it used to in the Bible. The firstborn is born lucky. Everything about the firstborn is double. If a man has 12 children like Jacob, when he wants to die, he must divide his property into 13 because the firstborn must have what? Double portion, double inheritance. In this kind of society, when you want to eat, it's according to birth. The firstborn goes there to take first. If they are going to sleep, the best place in the house is for who? The firstborn. If they are going to sit at table, when the father sits like this, the mother sits at his left hand, the right hand of the father is always the firstborn. Everything is firstborn. And I tried to practice that a little bit in my house as my children were growing up. When we are going out in the car, all small children normally like to sit by the window, isn't it? So they say, I'm going to sit down, and I say, no. Who sits at the window? Firstborn. If I'm going out and they say, Daddy will follow you, will follow you, follow you. Who takes first chance? Firstborn. I remember one day, one of them said, firstborn, firstborn, firstborn. Am I also not born? I said, yes, you were born, but you were not born first. Next time, when you are coming, call what? First. So in this kind of house, and now you now have 12 boys. What should Joseph have concluded? Kò lè kàn mí láíláí. Do you know the meaning of that? He can never, nothing good can ever reach me. Nothing good can ever reach me. When it starts from firstborn, number 1, number 2, number 3, what should number last? 11 and 12. What should they be eating all the time? Leftover. Now, are you listening to me? It is possible that the circumstances of your birth, it may not even be an issue of firstborn or secondborn or anything. It may just be the circumstances of your birth that first of all looks as if you are already disadvantaged. Some children were born out of wedlock. Are you hearing me? Your father didn't marry your mother. It was just a pastime in the night somewhere. And that's how you were born. Some children, they call them unwanted children. Have you heard such things before? The father will say, I didn't want to have you again. I didn't want to have children. I don't know it's your mother. And right from when you were born, you faced hostility. Even from your own parents. Some children were born and there was a controversy. This child is not my child. You are playing, you have committed adultery. No. And there was a lot of wrangling. And the child is growing up. He's hearing this quarrel between the two and he's on his head. It's not my child. It's your child. It's not my child. It's not. Disputed children. All kinds of manners. I don't know how you were born. Joseph was not positioned for automatic glory. Are you hearing me? He looked disadvantaged. But I don't know what happened to Joseph. You know, if you are a student of the Bible, something should challenge you in that verse. I think it's verse 2. They said, and Jacob. Look at the way they put it. They said, this is the generation of Jacob. What is the next word? Joseph. I say, how did you jump? From who? From Reuben to Simeon to Levi to Judah to Issachar to Zebulun to Dan to Naphtali. This is the generations of Jacob. Joseph. Now, what is it that distinguishes a man that is destined for glory? The first thing I saw about Joseph is the fact that Joseph was a man who did not conclude his case because of what he sees about his surrounding. He told himself, I may be number 11, but that doesn't mean anything yet. The ground is still open. The race is still open. It's not concluded. Do you know what this does for you? Is that it doesn't make you, like I said, like a Desica. Doesn't make you to relax. It doesn't make you to sit down and say, it's okay. What else can I cuckoo become? You know, sometimes when people are affected early in life, they give up on themselves. Joseph was not that kind of person. I met a young lady. I think I told you the other time. Don't know. Yes, I think I told you yesterday. A young girl that was raped when she was young. I don't know how old she was. Maybe 7 or 8 or 9 or something like that. That she was raped. And she told herself, if I've already been raped, so what else? And she became promiscuous because of that. No, that's not how to react in life. My circumstances notwithstanding, I will become what I will become if I don't give up on God and on my life. That's the first thing. And what was it that made Joseph to be this kind of person? I believe it was his dreams. Everybody say dream. His dreams. Early in life, Joseph had a dream about his future. The Bible says, one day, are you following me? God, how am I going to do this today now? Verse 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. We were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose and stood upright, and behold, all your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheep. And his brethren said to him, shall thou indeed reign over us? Or shall thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more. For what? For his dreams and for his words. Verse 9. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him and said unto him, what is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow themselves to the earth, ourselves to thee, to the earth? And his brethren envied him. But his father observed the saying. First thing I want you to notice is that it was not Joseph who interpreted his dreams. Who interpreted his dreams? It was his brothers. What did Joseph do? He just dreamed. The meaning and implication of those dreams is not his problem. What was his own matter? He just slept. And I imagine they say, why are you dreaming this kind of dream? What do you think Joseph will have said? Is it my problem? Did I concoct my dream? All I did was to do what? To lie down and sleep. And I saw a dream. It was his brother who said, do you mean you are going to reign over us? Are you going to reign? I didn't say anything like that. Excuse me, did I say anything like that? I didn't say, I just said, I did what? I dreamt. And you need to know how they normally sleep in their house. The firstborn will sleep like this. Secondborn, thirdborn, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. According to their gogorolarity. So I imagine that if an angel was bringing a dream from heaven, who will he meet first? Reuben. But there was something internal in Reuben that disqualified him for that dream. So the angel jumped over him. What was the problem of Brother Reuben? They told us yesterday. What was it? Immorality. He went to go and sleep with his father's junior wife. Then the angel looked at Simeon and Levi And he did a double jump. Do you know why? What was the problem of Simeon and Levi? Instrument of cruelty was in their habitation. Say, my soul, come not. No. Judah, as at that time, had not misbehaved, but Judah's own misbehavior is in the future. When you get home, go and read from chapter 38. You will see a man who is going to sleep with a harlot in secret. He traveled abroad. Traveled abroad where nobody will see him. Then he went to go and look for a prostitute to sleep with. And he did not have enough money in his account. So he gave him his ATM card. So what did the angel do? Jumped over Naphtali, Dan, Asher, everything. And then they got to Joseph and gave him a dream. Why? Again, the second invisible component. I'm coming to talk about dream, but let me introduce the second one. Is the instructions of a father. Of all the children, it was only Jacob that the Bible recorded that Jacob brought unto his father the evil report of his brethren. What's the meaning of that? Jacob was the one who said, Daddy said we should not do this. Why are you doing this thing that you are doing? I will tell. They say if you tell them, we will bang your face. So you saw a Joseph who was a stickler to right and wrong, to righteousness, a stickler to doing what is the proper thing. And they brought him this dream. Let's go back and look at the dream slightly before we come back to that issue. The first thing that a dream does to you is that it gives you a hope for tomorrow. Failure usually comes to hopeless people. People who keep a hope alive, who have a vision that something is going to happen to me in the future. They don't live careless life. They don't live lazy lives. They tell themselves, I'm going to become something tomorrow. I'm going to become something tomorrow. Every time I meet, sometimes the parents come and tell me, they say, this my son is a very bad boy. He's lazy, he doesn't do anything, the only thing he knows is to sit down and be playing games. I don't know which kind of children I gave birth to. I say, send him to me. Then they bring this young boy. And I look at the young boy, I say, what? Your daddy said you are lazy, you don't do anything. The boy will say, don't mind daddy, Jare. That's how they normally talk. I say, do you read your books? When I read the book, the thing is not interesting. I asked him this guy, he said, in fact, I don't even know self. Grumbling. Everything about him is dark, depressed. That boy does not have a vision of what is going to happen to him in the future. Then I face him. I said, do you know that? That's not your real picture. And I catch him. And over a period of time, I've done it over and over and over again. I begin to pray for him. I begin to peep into his future. And I said, do you know that God is planning something for you? Sometimes when I say it first time, they look at me like this as if to say, God doesn't know how to plan. If it's people like me that he's planning for, better go and look for somebody serious. That boy is dejected. He's face down. He doesn't know what to do with his life. I say, no. I say, I see a future leader inside you. You say, how? Then sometimes God gives me an insight and I begin to prop his vision. Sometimes I catch a girl who is beginning to be wayward. She's sleeping around. She's doing this. I say, no. What? Do you know that you could be the wife of a governor by the time you hit your 35? I said, wives of governors don't behave like this. Just imagine that you have become the governor's wife. And your husband, you and your husband, you go for a state function. And 5, 6 boys, 5, 6 men in that function, they say, we have climbed over that. You see, governor's wife. It was one of my first walkover. I say, how will you feel that there are people who will say, I slept with her? How will you feel? I see her shook. I said, no, don't live like that now, because tomorrow when you become something great, you will feel ashamed about this thing. Let's stop doing that, because God has something great for you. I say, do you know my vision for you? I'm looking forward to seeing a strong lady, matured, resourceful, motherly, who his wife, her husband, will be thanking God every day that this is the person I married. I'm looking 20, 30 years from now that you are going to be the reason why one young man will be making waves in the nation. And every time he goes and everybody is clapping for him, when he comes back, he say, all of you don't know the secret of my success. There's somebody in my bedroom who is my what? My help. I said, that's what I see concerning you. What am I doing to that girl? And giving her a dream, a vision. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. She suddenly changed, and the way she sees herself is different. And when I'm saying that, I'm not cajoling. Are you hearing me? I'm not just, what is that word? I'm not psyching her. I mean it. Then I point, I said, do you know this person? Do you know this person? And I said, she was just like you at your age. I told her that she's going to be the wife of a man of God in the future. You see, she's a pastor's wife today. So he said, do you mean that God has that kind of plan for me? I said, I am 100% sure. In fact, I tell some of them, I say, hold me responsible if you don't become like that. I see a change. The Bible says where there is no vision, what happens? The people perish. I told you yesterday that one translation says the people do what? They throw away restraints. They go wild. The first rope that God uses to restrain a man from misbehavior, from carelessness, from waywardness, is not anything big. Is first the dreams he has about himself for the future. And I know that I keep telling myself that it is my job as your parent to build a vision for you. So I'm bringing the first physical rope in now. What is that physical rope? The parents. It's the job of parents to build a vision for their children. Sometimes I challenge some parents. I say, stop talking to this boy the way you are talking. You are killing him. Do you know that? And I know that you know that what your father and your mother thinks about you is very important to you. Am I correct? If everybody outside is praising you and you get to and your father and mother say, well, which person are you? A useless boy. No. Something tells you that you are not yet something yet, because the first person that should believe in a life, in a child, is the father and the mother. But it's not every father and a mother that may have, listen to me very well, that may have the kind of teaching grace, for example, that I am exercising this morning. Your parents may not be teachers of the word of God. They may not be able to articulate it the way I am talking this morning, but your parents, in every parent's heart, is a dream for the future of their children. The problem is that when those children start misbehaving, most parents drop their dreams for their children. Are you hearing me? And that brings me to the second human hand, which are disciples. Wherever your parents stop, disciples are supposed to pick up. Are you following what I'm saying? And a good discipler is a discipler who has gone into God and peeped into the future of the child or the disciple, so that he can arrange and cooperate with God to take that life in the direction of God's dream for that life until that life arrives there. I hope you are following me. Are you following me this morning? Are you understanding what I'm talking about? The first thing that I want to encourage you to do is that, what are those things that your parents have said to you in their quiet moments? In the case of brother Joseph, the father didn't tell him, you are going to become prime minister. Not all parents have that kind of expression. But what did the father of Joseph, what did he do to him? He went and made him a coat of what? Many colors. Actually, when they say a coat of many colors, that's the kind of robes that royal people wear. So the father was already saying, you are going to be a king. You are going to be a royal person. Every time he wears that coat, something inside him says, I'm not going to be a nobody. So I suspect that Joseph himself began to develop his dreams. Every time he wears that clothes and is going up and down, he say, I'm going to be royalty. I'm going to be a king. I'm going to be something in the future. I'm not going to die a non-entity. Listen to me. If at this age you don't have a dream, there is very little hope that you become anything tangible in future. You need to go to God now and say, maybe I don't understand. My parents have done small things before. I didn't understand what do they mean. God, exactly what is it that you have about me? Do you know that tangible children, God normally speaks to their parents before they are born? Do you remember Moses? God told him this is going to be a deliverer. That's what made the parents to do all that they did. They went to the extent they went because they knew that this was a proper child. Your parents have gone to very great extents to preserve you, to protect you. Some of your parents, because of the vision they have for you, they slaved in order to send you to good education. Am I talking? Some of them did very, very serious things in order for you to go to private school. What are they telling them? Say, I don't want my child to be backward in his generation. I want my child to have the best. It's not every parent that are brilliant that end up in the university. I hope you know. There are more brilliant people than you outside, but there's nobody to send them to school. Sometimes you meet this local artisan, and the way he comports himself and he approaches his job, you will see that there is great capacity of intelligence here. But he was unfortunate to be born to somebody who does not have a vision for education. Are you with me? My parents were not very rich when I was born, but my father insisted all my children will go to school. All my children will go to school. All my children. It was a song in our ears. I'm sending you to school because I don't want you to be less than your mates. What is he talking about? It's a vision. I'm sending you somewhere. And I remember that in our little mind that time, I didn't take that as an opportunity to be very serious in school. I now knew that where to catch my father if I want to collect money is education. If you tell him you want him to buy clothes for you, he say he doesn't have money. You say you want to buy shoe, he doesn't have money. But when you say there's this textbook in physics, you say how much is it? Okay, I will give you. Though my own was not as bad as the child that they said he told his father that they need to buy 3 textbooks in school. Geo, Gra, and Phi. I didn't do that. Maybe I was not as crooked as that. But if we need extra money, sometimes even my mother will plan together how to add the money we need for clothes to money for textbook so that it will come out. My father was that determined. So the first thing, and it is this rope of dream that even keeps you from misbehaving spiritually. It keeps you holy. It keeps you the righteous way. You tell yourself, no, I will not do like that because there's something that is ahead of my life. The first invisible rope that God uses to tie people for glory is a dream. Before I go away from it, let me ask you, what do you think you are going to be in the next future, in the next few years? Have you gone to God to say, Lord, what is it that you planned concerning me? Not everybody will become president of America. Are you with me? Not everybody will even become president of Nigeria. But then there is a space somewhere in the future for you. There's a place of greatness in the future ahead of you. God has planned you for it. So go to God. I remember in those early days, when every time my children want to do that, I say, no, you are a child of covenant. There is something on your head. You can't do that because in 20 years from now, this will be a problem to what I see God wanting you to do. One day, one of them came to me and said, Daddy, I'm sorry. Don't be annoyed. I said, yes. He said, each time I want to do something, you keep saying, I'm a child of covenant. What exactly did you see about me? Then I sat down. I knew that it was my opportunity. I took him 5, 10, 15 years into his future. I said, this is the kind of young man I'm seeing. All you, my boys, not all of you, will be preachers. But I see you as professionals. I see the chairman, the group managing director of NNPC may be one of you. I see some of you as senators. I see you in the political life of this country. You are going to have a hand in shaping Nigeria. I wish I am president. God has said you will not be president of Nigeria. But what stops me from giving birth to one? Then they will look at me and say, can I be president? I say, why not? President, do they have 4 legs? Who told you that you cannot be the one to bring the next breakthrough? Build the first aircraft for Nigeria. Who said it cannot be you? I hope you are following what I'm saying. Don't go to places where they are telling you that, hallelujah, you are a young man, express yourself, do whatever you like. They are only destroying your vision, your future. Those who have somewhere they are going, what restrains them is not first outside. It is where? Inside, internal. It's the vision they are seeing. Do you know that what is making me to see jump up and down? I still look like I'm a young boy. Do you know? It's because I have a dream. There's a dream inside this body that is not yet fulfilled. I keep saying that I'm not ready to die. I'm not an old man at all. Sometimes I meet people my age or maybe slightly older than me. He say, you know, I'm already an old man because he crossed 50. He said, I'm already an old man. I said, old man. I said, I can't be your friend. Because me, I'm not an old man yet. I'm going somewhere. I have something. There's something still in the future. The first intangible rope that God uses to tie a man down for glory in the future is what? Is a dream. A specific, clear dream. I want to challenge you this morning as you leave this place and say, Lord, what is it about me? What do you have for me in the future? What's your plan and your purpose for my life? As you begin to peep into that, you start seeing strength to weather all odds. The second intangible rope that God uses to hold down people that are destined for glory, I say, is the instructions of a father, the teachings that you receive from the word of God, the truths that come your way day in, day out. You have come to Students' Congress now. We are believing that two things will happen to you by the time you are leaving here. The first thing is that a dream for a correct future will be born in your life. You will no longer see yourself as somebody who will grow up and eventually become a prostitute. You will not see yourself as somebody who will eventually grow up and then say, no problem, I can become a political tout. I'll be helping politicians to gather area boys. That's not God's dream for your life. But the second thing that we are hoping is happening to you as we are sitting down here is that we are pumping you with instructions. We are telling you how to live your life, how to run your academics like we've just heard in the seminar, how to run your marriage, how to run your discipleship life. We are pumping all of these things to you. They are the second invisible rope that keeps a man on the path to glory. Sometimes when people invite you to come and do something, you say, no, that's contrary to the word of God, which I already know. It's a rope. You know, this invisible rope is very interesting. I will tell you a story of, you know, when you see small goats, have you seen small goats when they are playing? If there are 2-3 small goats that are born to a mother group, you see them jumping like this and doing like this. They will jump, and then hit their head. Somebody said when the small goat is doing like this, they say, do you know what he say? He say, my mother is the slave. Me, I am free. My mother is the slave. Me, I am free. Do you know the reason? Everybody who has a goat knows that you don't need to tie the baby goats. What do you tie? It's the mother goat. You tie it down. But what the baby goat does not know is that his mother's rope is visible. Is he tied down or not? He is also tied down. Why? Because he can't go away. There's an invisible rope that ties into that mother. That's what we are talking about. There are these invisible ropes. They are not physical, but they tie you down for God to carry you to where He is planning you. The instructions of a father. Let me read Proverbs. Let's read Proverbs quickly. Go to Proverbs. Let's go to chapter 4 first. Are you in chapter 4? He said, hear, verse 1, ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding. For I give you good doctrine. Forsake ye not my law. For I was my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also and said unto me, let your heart do what? Retain my words. Keep my commandments and live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing. With all you're getting, get what? Get understanding. The instructions of a father. The instructions of a mother. Can I say to you that every time your parents are coming around, it looks like they are giving you rules and regulations. They are only putting things in your life that will make sure you will arrive at where God wants your life to arrive. Are you hearing me? The first, the best, and the safest discipler actually are your parents. What did I say? The first, the best, and the what? The safest. Before somebody else is allowed to pour into your life, the first set of people that should pour into your life are your parents. Don't resent your parents. Don't resent their instructions. Don't resent their guidance. They preserve you. I've listened to several of you as I sat down in counseling yesterday, one after the other. Several of you said, actually, the only reason why I am not yet this virgin is because my mother my mother was very strict on me. What a wonderful testimony I was hearing. It means that there are still some parents outside there who are still jealously guarding the future of their children. It means that there are people out there who are not leaving their children to the wolves. Actually, the safest person to trust is the person who gave birth to you, your father and your mother. It is only when there is a problem that's when we start looking outside for a discipler. I can talk like this because I know that many of you, your parents are born again. Let me see the hands of those whose parents are born again. Let me see your hand up. Raise your hand. You see, you are a second generation Christian. In our own time, our parents could not be our disciples because our parents were idol worshippers, nominal Christians, unbelievers, maybe even Muslims. But you now, several of you that are here, it's your parents that sponsored you to come for this meeting. Several. I'm not saying all. Many of you. And so the first person you should accord a respect in your heart, to value their words, to keep and retain their words in their heart, are your parents. They are the best, they are the first, the best, and the what? The safest. Of course, your parents cannot provide everything that you need in life. I'm not saying that they are sufficient, but I'm saying they are the first, and they are the best, and they are the safest. They may not be sufficient. Actually, you will need the input of other people into your lives as you grow up. But the first person you must accord a value in your life is who? Is your parents. Even if your parents are not born again, they are still the first set of people that God will use to protect you, to provide for you, to nurture you, to set you in the direction in which God wants you to go in life. Actually, I normally say when I'm talking to parents, a child turns outside to look for a role model if his father and mother fails him. Who is the first role model of a child? Is a parent. And I know you know that the first person you knew was daddy, and mommy. It was only as you were growing up that you started seeing other people around. Those other people around, they are secondary. And I need to say this very strong. Anyone who despises the instructions of his father and mother is not setting himself on the path of success and glory. Let me read one dangerous Bible verse for you. I call it dangerous. Very dangerous. You will see you see that it is dangerous now. Go to Proverbs chapter 30. Proverbs chapter 30, and I want to read verse 17. The eye that mocks at his father and despises to obey his mother. What's going to happen to that eye? The ravens of the valley shall do what? Shall pick it out, and the young eagles shall eat it. Did you see that in your Bible? Those who despise. What's the meaning of despise? Ignore. Disdain. Look at us. And sometimes it's an unfortunate thing that I'm seeing with many of us in this generation. You easily despise your parents. Some of you will even say your parents are old school. You say, that is not compliant. That is not Y2K compliant. But it was the one that born you. It was that old school that they used to feed you. It's that old school that they used to guide you until you have reached where you are. The eye that despises mother is planning to be destroyed in the future. So I saw Joseph with this dream in his heart. See him growing. Unfortunately, Joseph had a problem. He had only a father. He didn't have a mother. I call it a problem because I'm sure that if Joseph had that dream and he woke up, if he had a mother, who is the first person he will have told that dream? It will have been mommy. And supposing Joseph told his mother and said, Mommy, I had a dream. All my brothers, they are all bowing down after me. What will the mother say? Shh. Shh. Don't say it again. He said, Mommy, what is it now? That's what I dream. I say, It's not every dream that you announce publicly. Joseph suffered all the hatred from his brothers simply because of the absence of a mother. Mothers are vision protectors. I will say that anywhere. You need to see mothers protecting their children. I always call them mother hen. You see her doing cocoa around the children. Going like mother hen. What happened? I say your cocoa is too much. Sit down somewhere. You say, how can I sit down? She's here. She's talking to this one. She's doing like that. I say cocoa everywhere. Is that not how your mommy normally does? She wants to know everything about you. She wants to talk into everything. When he sees you talking to a boy, he say, who is that boy? Why is he calling you? Who sent you that text? Cocoa everywhere. But what is she doing? Protecting. She doesn't want eagles to pick her own young. Joseph didn't have a mother. So he started opening his mouth everywhere. Brother, I had a dream. All of you. When we were in the farm, your chief stood up and was bowing down. They said, come here. Gave him a knock on his head. Bah! Lanre, your mouth. My own chief is bowing down to yours. What do you mean by that? You mean I will come and bow down to you? You will see how that will happen. You see. One problem with vision is that it raises enemies. There are vision killers. That's when you need your parents. You need your disciples. They are the protectors of destiny. They are the ones that will not allow you to be quashed before you have a chance of becoming. Sometimes I tell my boy, I say, boy, cool down. You are going to do greater things tomorrow. This one, don't worry. Relax. Don't go out. Don't let them know you too quick. You don't know the trouble I have with disciples. And I say, no, don't go yet. Don't go and wax that album. I know your voice is good, but don't go and start making records. You are too young to be exposed. Some vision killers outside there, they will do what? They will kill you before you have a chance of establishing. Wait until your leg touches the ground. There's one Yoruba proverb. Wait until your hand is holding the cutlass. Before you start asking, who killed my father? You don't have cutlass in hand, and you're asking who killed. The death that killed your father will likely kill you too. Parents and disciples are vision protectors, vision nourishers, vision enablers, vision propellers. There are people who see where you are going in future, and they arrange you in the best way to make sure you arrive there. That's the job of every parent. Joseph dreamed this dream. He dreamed a dream again. He dreamed a dream. Do you notice that even though his father rebuked him, the father never hated him for his dreams? There's something inside every parent. They want their children to be greater than themselves. Isn't it? But your brothers don't want you to be greater than them. Your sisters don't want you to be greater than them. But the joy of every father is to see himself reproduced in his son in a greater dimension. A father would like to sit down and see his son doing great exploits. He say, yes, that's my boy. His own joy is complete. That he just sits down and say, I remember my father. When I wanted to become a preacher, he said, no, you are not, I don't want you to become one of those non-entities that will be carrying Bible in their hand and be slapping his leg everywhere and be collecting offering to live. He said, that's not what I want my firstborn to be. My father was too jealous about what he wanted us to be in future. He didn't know too much. He was not born again that time. I'm still the one that came and preached for him to be born again. But even as an unbeliever, he had a vision. So when I graduated and I said I'm going to full-time ministry, he put his hand on his head. He said, no, I will disown you. Thank God. It's a long story. I eventually became pastor. We started a church. The church became big and all of that. Settle down. Your parents may not be able to provide everything you need. Do you know that even me, as a parent, can you imagine that I am like this? I'm teaching discipleship and all of that. Do you think I should not imagine that everything that my children need, I can provide for them spiritually? But that's not true. As my children are growing up, I send them into other people's homes. I say, go and stay with that person. There may be deficiencies in your life that I will not be able to train you. Go and stay with this family. There are certain things that your mother, because she's too motherly, will not allow you to learn. You need to go somewhere when the mother there will say, oh yeah, go to the kitchen at 5 a.m. You say, in our house, we don't go to the kitchen. You say, you are not in your house. So you are in my house now. Stand up. Go and put hot water on fire. Then she comes and says, Daddy, the mommy in that place, she's shouting. I say, she's not shouting on you. She's training you. Oh yeah, 5 a.m. Stand up. If daddy told you at home, you will not agree. Abi? Now you have gone somewhere else. There are deficiencies in your life that some other people will impute. But the primary set of people that is supposed to train you and prepare you is who? Is your parents. The last category in that visible rope, I talked about parents, isn't it? I've talked about disciples. We have not spoken too much about disciples. I'm going to trust God that the discipleship seminar will make that input in a strong way, because I don't have time to be teaching. Disciples are lives. A discipler is first a disciple who is following Jesus and who helps a disciple not to follow himself but to follow who? Jesus. The objective is to follow Jesus. A discipler is only a help to make you become like Jesus. A discipler is not to train you to become like himself, except that the discipler himself is becoming like Jesus. So eventually you will become like Jesus, like your discipler, because your discipler is also becoming like Jesus. Discipleship is not just one man who say, yes, come and fetch water for me. That one is slavery. Even though you may fetch water for the discipler, but it is not for menial jobs. The only reason why you will do work is because discipleship again is not just Bible study. It's a transfer of life. I hope you are hearing me. And life cannot be transferred inside Bible study. Life is transferred in life situations. As you drive in the car, as you walk somewhere, as you go together to go and do this work, as you do this one, you start learning Christ in the life of the discipler. Joseph could not learn everything that God wanted him to learn. The next place for his discipleship was in Egypt. Let's jump all the story of how he reached Egypt. You remember when he landed in Egypt? Where did he land? In Potiphar's house. That was the first discipler he had. And that discipler, I don't know what happened between Pharaoh and Joseph, but Potiphar himself must have been a very good, astute administrator for him to identify somebody who is also good like him. So I imagine that there was an apprenticeship between Joseph and Potiphar, until Potiphar was convinced that yes, this young man can be left in charge. You know, in his father's house, let me ask you, in Joseph's house, will they ever commit anything serious in his hand? Why? He's number 11. Who trained him in administration? Who trained him in how to manage? Who trained him how to manage an estate? It was not his father's house. It was in Potiphar's house that he learned it. And sometimes because they just wrote it in one line, and Potiphar saw that God was with Joseph, and he committed everything to his hand. That one line, maybe 5 years. Are you following what I'm saying? Before you will see that God is with a man, it's not a man that arrived yesterday. So you see this kind of apprenticeship that trains you, that brings out the third invisible component. What is that third invisible component? Your gifts, your talents, and what? What was the first one? Gifts. What is the first one? Sorry. Your gifts, your talent, and your skills. Yes. Let me tell you, prayer is wonderful. Everybody say prayer is good. Prayer is the key. Prayer is the key. Prayer is the master's key. Jesus started with prayer and ended with prayer. Prayer is the master. That's the master key. But there are other keys. Did you hear what I said? Seest thou a man that is diligent in his business? He's going to bring him before great kings. The Bible says he shall stand before great men. He will not stand before mean men. There is a way in which we are beginning to overemphasize prayer in church, as if to say prayer is going to give you employment. Yes, prayer will give you employment, but the employer will not interview you as to how many hours you can speak in tongues. What is the employer looking for? Skills. Not only skills, they are looking for skills, they are looking for attitudes, they are looking for aptitudes. We are shouting that unemployment is in Nigeria. There is no job for people. There are millions of unemployed graduates. How many of those graduates are employable? How many of you are employable? Those of you that are in final year, how many of you are actually employable? My first son finished from the university, and he's carrying his certificate. Then we prayed, and God led us to go and do his masters, and he went and did his masters abroad. When he landed first semester, my boy wrote back to me, said, "Daddy, I just discovered that I don't know anything." I said, how did you do that? He said, Daddy, let's forget about my 5 years. He said, in fact, it's good, I've gone to school. But I said, what are you talking about? He said, excuse me, sir. That is not how to do school the way we are doing school in Nigeria. I said, what do you mean? He said, everything is not the fault of the lecturers. He said, when I was in Nigeria, I just went to class. I sat down in class. They are teaching. I was listening to the lecturer just to pass the lecturer's exam. He said, excuse me, Daddy, I was not confident about anything. He said, but within few weeks that I've arrived there, the approach to teaching and learning is different. I see students, how they are doing research. They are on the internet, they are googling, they are doing this, they are doing that. He said, I said, is that how you people learn here? He said, yes. He said, just as we are sitting in class, as the teacher is talking, somebody has googled, he has found out this information. As the teacher is talking, the students are talking, he's looking at them. I said, where do they get all of these things? I said, when I used to tell you here, you will not understand. By the time he finished, the first one finished, my boy that I will beg to be struck very serious in the university, he said, Daddy, don't worry. Don't worry. He was not a dollar though. He still passed very well. He still graduated very well. But the first semester they did, my boy topped the class. I said, what? I said, I've always told you that you are a first class material. I've always told you, I said, you are first class material. He said, Daddy, I didn't know it. It took him to see how other students are learning, to wake up the learner inside him. He saw students that were already writing program for Google, for Apple, and they are in the same class. So he got challenged and now, if he comes back now, I know he's a different person. Many of you are sitting in the university, you think the lecturer will do everything. And all of you, your phone is always full of data. But what are you using that data to do? WhatsApp, Facebook. I used to tell you, go away from Facebook, face your book. What did I say? Go away from Facebook so that you can do what? Face your book. He saw students, how they were applying themselves. Students go to lecturers, they are talking, and the lecturers are approachable. I agree that the lecturers there are also good and approachable. But the first thing that he was showing me is the way the students were learning. By the time my boy was finishing, he was already also writing many things. Now, if that boy returns to Nigeria now, and the two of you sit down for interview, who do you think will get the job? You. Yes, you will get it in the name of Jesus. But it's more than prayer. It's more than what? It's more than prayer. Use the internet in your hand to enhance yourself. At first, I was keeping my children away from internet. Of course, that was when they were still young. I said, no, the internet is bad. And God said, no, the internet is not bad. It's the way you use it. Train them. I was the person who helped all my children to open their first email account. I taught them how to browse. I taught them how to, and I told them, the internet is dangerous. Everything is available at a click. Both the good and the bad. And the ugly self. On the internet, you can solve. The other day, one young man was struggling with mathematics, and I said, come, let me teach you. When he brought the first thing, I said, I've forgotten how to do all of these things. So how will I solve this now? But then I just turned to my internet and I googled how do you solve something mathematical equation. I put video. Videos are out. Lecturers from India, from this, from that, they are all on the net. And I sat down. I watched the video for 15 minutes, and then I remember. I said, oh yes, this is how we used to solve it. I saw the different method. I said, come, let me teach you. Within 15 minutes, I had learned enough on the internet, and I was teaching the boy. All of that is available to you. They are inside that thing that is in your hand, but you will not go there. How are you this morning? You, Uncle? You dey chop? Make we see the thing where you dey chop, oh. Then you will carry your phone and snap the food. Come and eat. I say, who go chop all this kind of yeye thing that you are eating? Your own, make we see your own. Eat it with snap his own. And say, me, I'm eating too. Shh. When you are doing that, 20 minutes, 30 minutes has gone. Do you know the meaning of that? 30 minutes of your life has been wasted. Joseph began to develop skills. Tie down, but not lazy. Tie down, but not redundant. Tie down, but not bored. He was engaging himself, putting himself in everything. Pouring himself into things. The man was looking at it. This is an energetic young man. And do you know that the teacher always gives extra attention to the brightest boys in class? Am I correct? It's normal. When you see somebody who is applying himself, the teacher knows that any small work I do on this child will show quick. But you, the way you see it safe. You know, sometimes, I'm sorry. As we are doing counseling, I'm watching many things. I saw the way some disciples, when they want to counseling, the way they sit in front of the person counseling, just like that posture enough has already told me that there is nothing inside this thing. I need to pump this life. I talked about spaghetti the other time, Abi. Those ones that are always there and see they don't have bones inside them. Engage yourself. Engage your mind. Engage your time. Force your day to produce for you. Force every day to contribute to your future. I will not live and let this day pass me by. and it has not contributed to what I'm going to become tomorrow, that's a waste. Joseph entered Egypt and he applied himself. It was not long before the man knew that that's a boy we can depend upon. You see, so it is not only skills, we are also talking about attitudes, and we are talking about what? Aptitudes. Aptitudes like dependability. If they give you a work to do, it starts from home. Your parents should be able to say, when I give James an assignment to do, I don't have to go and check it. It's done. They don't teach that in school. You learn it by engaging your heart, by engaging yourself. Don't be lazy. Laziness is of the mind, of this mind. Engage yourself. Find yourself. Say, what am I doing with this minute? This minute is ticking. Tick, 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 tock, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Do you know that you are older than you came to this camp? What did I say? You are already older. In fact, you are older now than you came to this hall this morning. You are already older by how many hours? Count it. It's gone. Thank God that you are here and you are engaged. But when you are not in a conference, when you are not in class, when you are not in places where people engage you, do you engage yourself? That's why you know a man that is going for glory. Engage yourself. Engage your heart. Engage your hands. Engage your talents. Engage your skills. When I was a young boy, there are not all these internet things and were not available at that time. You draw with your hand. When somebody is doing birthday, I will draw a card. I don't have money to buy imported card. But I discovered that they don't throw away my card. Because not only will I draw something beautiful, sometimes it's a portrait of that person that I will sketch. Then I will write words that the person will not want to throw away for a long time. Engage yourself. Engage your heart. Engage your mind. Engage your time. Your time is your life. Don't let it slip by you. Don't let it fritter away. Joseph engaged himself. The development of skills, development of talents, development of aptitudes, development of gifts, they are what ties down a man. They are what occupies a man while he's tied down until the day of glory will come. See, look at, I talked about gifts, talents, and skills. Joseph, in his father's house, he was only a dreamer of dreams. Do you remember? All he knew how to do was to do what? Is to dream. But by the time he arrived in the prison, his gifts has moved to the next level. He was not only dreaming dreams now. What is he doing now? He's interpreting dreams. He kept putting that dream to work. Dream to work. Dream to work. You know, it was that dream that gave him the job of prime minister without interview, without application. What does the Bible say? The gifts of a man does what? Maketh room for him. See, prepare yourself. And when you have somebody who is skillful, hardworking, good habits, dedicated, and all of that, employers will be running over themselves to employ you. Everybody will want you to be here with them. Everybody will want you to be in their team. Make yourself so valuable that everywhere you enter, everybody wants you to be in their team. You know, when we were young, we used to play set. Do you play set? You don't know what they call set. Do you still play set? You know those football that you and then you say once they play, once a team scores, then set, then you have another team. There are certain boys, when they come to the field to play, they don't struggle for shirt. What's going to happen? Every team, we want them in their set. What is the secret? Skill. They know that if he carries the ball like this, do like this, 3 people will fall down. Ball is inside the net. That's how those professionals, when they invite them into camp, you see how they normally come late. They know that they already have a place. Nigeria cannot do without me. So when you say, hey, they didn't report late, they didn't report early, the coach will make noise. When he finish making noise, the day is going to bring out his fixtures. If he doesn't include them, the whole of Nigeria will be shouting, how can you leave out a coacher from that team? Whatever he did, forgive him. What is talking? Skill. I want you to go and become like that. That everybody will want you around them. It was one of my small mottos as I was growing, that everywhere I walk, when I am going, people must cry. When I'm leaving, people must do what? They must cry. Why? What do I mean by that? I decided to make myself so invaluable. I'm the one that is ready to help everybody to solve their problem. I'm ready to get involved in whatever you are doing. I'm ready to of course it has put me in a lot of trouble. You have more work. But do you know that more work is not a disadvantage? More work is opportunity to develop your skills. As I dabble into this, I become proficient in that one. I dabble into that, I perform. I go here until they gave me a nickname. I will not tell you. I know you are ready to hear, but I will not. I will never tell you. Because if I tell you like this, that's what you'll be using to call me. I know you very well. Dabble into everything. I go somewhere, they say, Pastor, this is not your area. I say, who told you? Try me. Give me 1 month. I'm already talking intelligently. When architects are talking, they can't push me back. Structural engineers are talking, I'm there. Choir musicians are talking, I'm there. Drama, haven't you been seeing me staging drama? Electrical problem. How did I do that as a small boy? My eye is inside everything. Why did you connect those 2 wires together? Why is this one red? Why is it not black? In the carpenter's workshop, everywhere. And when I leave a place, they say, Kai, Lanre is not here again. It was my ambition. But do you know what he did to me? Of course, he made me tired many times because I did work that didn't concern me. Did many things that didn't concern me. But I am the better for it today because those gifts, those talents, those skills are developed. Now, dreams is not exclusive, but the best people to develop your dreams are your parents. The best people to give you instructions in life, teachings, especially spiritual teachings and all of those life trainings, they are your disciples. But the best people that work out the skills and talents in you are not necessarily Christian. They are your masters. What did I call them? Your masters, your bosses, those whom you call ogas. Those who are put in authority over you. Some of you need to finish. You are doing mechanical engineering and all they are teaching you in school is theory. When my boys were in school, when he finishes the theory in the university, during break I send him to a mechanic workshop to go and learn practical. We have a nickname for it in our house. I will not tell you. When they go there, they knock their head. They are not Christians. You say that man is too harsh. I say yes. You are not going to practice your mechanical engineering in church. Where are you going to practice it? Outside. You will meet with harsh people, with rough people. You need to grow under such people that are not even correct. But they have skill. But I tell them, I say, learn their skill, don't learn their life. Because mechanic workshop is the best place to learn how to lie, how to tell lies. Very easy. I hope you are following what I'm saying. Some of the people who will put skills into your life are not Christians. They are not friendly. They are not like your parents. They are not like your disciples. They are rough people, but they are the ones ordained to mature your gifts and fan it into flames. For Joseph, it was the jailer inside prison that gave him opportunity of exercising his gifts until his gifts brought him out. I think I should wind down now and bring us to a point to pray. Why am I talking the way I'm talking? God has a big program concerning your life, but it's not a vague program. Are you listening to me? You can't sleep through all your teenage years and mistakenly become great. It doesn't happen like that. Those who become great in life, they are people who engaged their youth. They put themselves into what they are doing. Your academic life, put yourself in it. Apply yourself to it. I was listening to all the questions that you are asking after the academic session. And supposing I am in the exam hall and one person is telling the answer to another person, and I had, should I write it or should I not write it? I looked at it. So the people around say, oh, that's a problem. I say, it's not a problem. It's only a problem to you if you don't know what you are talking about. If you are prepared yourself, you are writing your exam for yourself, you will not. The only reason why you are listening is simply because what? You are not engaged. It's because you don't have what to write. They give you assignments in class. You will not do your own. Then you rank zeros. You know what they call rank zeros? I know, you copied. You photocopied. You photocopy. I say whoever gives you his assignment to photocopy hates you. What did I say? He hates you. Why did I say he hates you? You are going to submit what you have not applied yourself to. Will he follow you when you graduate to come and be doing it for you? Anybody who helps you to cheat hates your future. Refuse it and say, no, I'm not going to cheat. Anybody who cheats actually, how do I put it, deceives himself into thinking he's already something that he is not. Your result is reading B, 69B. But you, 69 is not B, it's B now. But you are a 29F. And somebody helped you to collect 59B. What has that person done to you? Number one, he left you at your 29 position. If he really wants to help you, it's not in exam hall. Where should he help you? Before. Train you. I have teachers who are in schools and they say, we will not allow students to cheat in the exam. I say, yes. Teacher, you must do more than that. These students are looking for somebody to help them. Their own idea of help is help me to cheat. Tell them that before exam, announce to everybody, I will not help you to cheat in the exam, but I am ready to help you to know it. Set up extra lessons for students who don't know how to do something. Come and meet me, I will teach you. If as a teacher you have been doing that in the school, when it reaches exam time, you have the moral, spiritual, even unholy right to make sure that nobody cheats there. I hope you are following what I'm saying. Don't wait till exam time for somebody to help you. That's not help. That person hates you. Insist on knowing what you are. When we were doing school, I told myself, I said, it's because you don't have vision. I thought I didn't know I was going to be preaching. I read that Greek. My ambition was that I was going to run Obasanjo farms out of market. Obasanjo farms was the biggest and the most efficient farm at that time when I was graduating. I said, I'm going to start a farm that will not only compete with it, it will make his farm look like child's play. And I meant it. So, in school, I wasn't cheating. Cheating for where? I did everything. I did every practical. I did everything myself. I wanted to know how to do it so that when I enter a place, I am an authority. That's over 30 years ago that I have graduated. If I still enter a poultry farm today, in 10-15 minutes, I can solve problems there. Up till now, the thing has not gone because I engaged myself in it. It's just that I don't have time for it. I hope you are following what I'm saying. You are reading sociology, or you are even reading education English. Any student that passes through your class as a teacher should be an A student. Make yourself proficient not only in the English but in the art of teaching. So that when you go to a school and they post you to a school, you are not sent to that school. The principal says, we don't want you to transfer that. There are some teachers that the principal will not allow to be transferred. Abi? But there are some teachers that once they are saying transfer, I say, I have about 2 or 3. The good readers to bad rubbish. Your dreams, the instructions, your gifts, talents, developed and ready while you are tied down. I think I've finished. Let's look for some time to pray now. Listen, because we are going to pray now. You are going to be young how many times? Only once. Woe unto the man who becomes an old man before he starts preparing himself. You are going to be a student only once in your life. You cannot be sweet 16 more than 1 year. Once that year finishes, you will never become 16 again. You don't know what happens to all of us as we are ministering to you. Just enter the minds of these uncles. Maybe the younger ones may not be feeling like that, but people like us, they say, God, I wish I am still young like this. I really wish I still have your strength. Every time you say, let us pray, I see the way you all stand up. If I do like that too much, I will need Panadol. I say, you doing like this? Oh God. Somebody wanted to break the ground yesterday because he's praying. I say, yes, that's a young man. Engage your strength and your youth while you are young. As you are tied down, don't sleep through your youth. Hey, don't watch television through your youth. Don't play games away with your youth. Am I saying you should never play game at all? Maybe not. You use games to relax. If you are going to play a game, look for a game that will improve your cognitive ability. I have games in my iPad. Once in a while, maybe when the head is already hot and I need to relax, I can bring a game. But I'm playing constructive games, games that will force me to think. Games that will need strategy for me to think. I'm developing my gray matter. But I will never allow myself to play games for up to 1 hour. 1 hour. Games. My life is going. My life is going. I'm engaging myself. I'm doing something. I'm doing something constructive. I want you to make a decision today. This altar call is not to come and cry in the front again. I told one person yesterday, I said, we don't like you to always come and cry. We are not criers. We don't believe people should. But if you have something that will make you cry in your life, it's better for you to cry. Abi? But cry once and do what? Repent. Change. The next time you come, will you be crying? We don't expect to do another student congress and you come and you are still lying down here to come and say, I have done it again. I have gone back to pornography. That's a waste of even our own life. We believe God that by the next time you are coming for a student congress, not only will you be bringing other people, some of you will have graduated as final students, but those of you that are coming back, you are not coming back to come and be crying and be repeating. You are coming back to come and receive fresh instructions. You are coming back to come and be further energized, further enriched to face your future. By the time you are coming next time, you are saying, thank God. Yes, I'm ready to face my life now. I'm not going to face my life as a jejet. I want you to make a decision this afternoon and say, Lord, I'm going back. I don't need daddy and mommy to be pursuing me again. I'm going to be the slave driver myself. I'm going to be the one pursuing myself. I'm the one going to make myself engage myself. Rise to your feet. Let's pray together. I want you to talk to God this afternoon and say, Lord, those hands that you have prepared for me, I will submit to them in order to fulfill your purpose for my life. Our prayer points is going to be divided into two. Let's talk about those invisible ropes first. What is the first one of those invisible ropes? A dream. I want you to pray for yourself this afternoon and say, Lord, open my eyes that I may see. Help me to see my future. Help me to see what you plan for me. I am not a reject. I'm not a mistake. You planned for me. What is your plan for my life? Open my eyes that I may see. Talk to God this morning and say, Lord, open my eyes. Open my eyes that I may see. Those things that my parents have been talking about. Hints that disciples have been dropping. They've been talking, but I don't understand. Lord, open my eyes that I may see. Help me to see what I'm going to be for you in the future. What do you have planned for me? 10 years, 20 years from now, Father, where will I be? Lord, open my eyes that I may see. Open my eyes that I may see. Pray that God will keep your vision intact. God will protect your vision from vision killers. Those who will not allow you to become God's purpose for your life, ask God to take them away from your life. Vision destroyers. Lord, clear my path of vision destroyers. Garnish my path with vision enablers. Those who will make space for me to become. Those who will make inputs for me to become. Those who will enable me, prepare me, challenge me. Lord, deliver me from vision killers. And I want you to pray, Lord, in Jesus' name we pray. The next thing I want you to pray is that, Lord, what are my special, peculiar gifts? My own talents. Those things that are supposed to make a way for me. Lord, open my eyes that I may see it. Go ahead and pray. What is it that is about me? What is peculiar about me that will make me to become, that will make me to lay hold on your purpose for my life? Who am I in your purpose? What are my gifts? What are my talents? What are my skills that I will develop, I will pour time and energy into? Open my eyes, Father, that I may see. Lord, train me, develop me, exercise my gifts. Lord, engage me in a profitable way for my future. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. I talked about attitudes and aptitudes. You can be skillful. I see people who are very skillful. He's very sharp, he's intelligent, but he has a bad attitude. He always takes people for granted. They say he's good, but if you bring him here, he's a troublemaker. His mouth is leaking. He cannot keep secrets. Those are life aptitudes. I want you to pray and say, Lord, the life aptitudes and attitudes that will push me to greatness, Lord, train me in them in the name of Jesus. Faithfulness, loyalty, dependability, respect for elders, respect for the rule of law, respect for rules and regulations. Lord, make me a correct youth. I don't want to be a troublemaker. Those of you that are girls, beg God to give you a mother's heart. A mother's heart. The heart of a mother. The heart of a wife. That will be an indispensable asset to every husband that marries you. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' name we pray. The final prayer we are going to pray is about those human hands that are the one that will propel you into your future. Your parents, your disciples, and your masters, your bosses, your guys, I want you to beg God and say, Lord, everybody that has a part in preparing me for the future, send me to them. Bring them my way. Send me back to my parents. Send me back home to go and submit, to go and learn the things I need to learn. Send me. Lord, give me a discipler who will train me, who will release me into your purpose for my life. Every human hand that is meant to train me, whether they are believers or unbelievers, bring them my way. Every human hand. Do you know that one of them can be your colleague, your friend? He has a skill. He is supposed to impart it to you. Lord, open my eyes that I may see them. Send them my way. Send me their way. Everyone that has a hand, all my vision enablers, vision propellers, trainers, disciples, masters that have a hand in my future, send them my way. Send me their way.